Thank you, Director of Information. And once again, I want to thank your indulgence for the patience which you have shown in waiting for us. The meeting ended quite some time ago. I had an interim engagement. I want to start on a very humane and personal note, which is that I'm in the midst of a bereavement. I lost my first granddaughter. All of you are aware of that. A bereavement is an act of God. It's a work of nature, and one cannot do much about it, but one takes great comfort if sorrow and pain is shared. And that's what I saw in the last week. That's what my wife saw. That's what my first son saw. That's what the mother of the deceased Natsai Masai saw. All Zimbabweans, coming from their various walks of life to share our bereavement, our sorrow. We can't change the nature of it, but that lightened the pain because it shows that whatever we are doing, there is empathy from you. And this empathy extended even to the press. So, I want to extend the family thanks to that. And also Mrs. Mutsvangwa's thanks. She's your Minister of Information. So thank you once again. I want to get to the order of the day. We had, I'll start with the highlights of the speech of the President, which was given today. We are just coming out of our 42nd independence celebrations, which were held in the seat of kings and queens, which is Bulawayo, which is also the second largest metropolitan of the country, covering 3 provinces of Mat North, Mat South, and Bulawayo itself. What a show. You can always be sure that if you give Bulawayo a chance, it will do something out of the ordinary. So I think it was imaginative of the President and the Second Republic that they said, under the spirit of inclusivity and devolution, we must now start rotating the hosting of the national independence celebrations, because Zimbabwe is the product of a collective effort at national level by Zimbabweans in their various walks of life, losing over nearly 100,000 souls in a people's war spanning from the 1964 approximately to 79 to get where we are. Without that people's war would not be where we are. So independence belongs to each and every family in Zimbabwe, to each Zimbabwean. And in the spirit of the inclusivity and devolution, the Second Republic and President Mnangagwa decided that we are going to be going around the provinces so that each one can get a chance to share this precious gift of independence to Zimbabweans. And we started off with Bulawayo, a departure from Harare, and sure, it didn't disappoint. It was a magnificent show, but the additional beauty of it was the way all the political parties this time decided to be part of the independence celebrations. We want to hail all the political particulars, but specifically the rechristened MDC, now Triple C. They were there, and we loved it. The President was very happy about it. It denotes the new mood of the times, that we are getting to each other as Zimbabweans. We may have differences, but what unites us, what bonds us, is more than which divides us, because we all want a good Zimbabwe, we all want a prosperous Zimbabwe, and having the Triple C there was a good thing. We give no quarter when we appreciate patriotic things on the part of Zimbabweans. And that sign of patriotism, it was the party and the Politburo, the President, everybody liked it. We hope that henceforth we continue along the same spirit. You know, we go as Zimbabweans lock in step towards trying to build a country which is the most beautiful on the African continent. So this is, I think, this was what was remarkable, and it was held in the president's speech, which was given to all Zimbabweans. And we also want to, like I said, you can never, if you give Bulawayo a chance, they give you a show. So we thank the Metropolitan Province of Bulawayo for such a great show. It was magnificent, if I can put it mildly. And I'm sure that it has set the bar high for the other provinces. You know, the highlighting of the second major monument of this country at Kami. You know, everybody knows Great Zimbabwe, but Kami comes after Great Zimbabwe. It shows great improvements in the masonry, which was now employed by the skilled technicians which built that city based on gold. You know, remember, it is the third city of the Great Zimbabwe civilization after Mapungubwe in South Africa, on the confluence of the Shashi and the Limpopo, then Great Zimbabwe. So it was a good chance. It really gave us an opportunity to dig into our history. As I emphasize, south of the Sahara, all other countries, maybe except one or two or three, all other civilizations, they built with dagga, they built with straw, they built with wood. In Zimbabwe, we built with granite. So even if we didn't write, we have no records, but there's something which shows who we are for 1,000 years. So something to be proud of. And this was a chance to highlight Kami as one of the great UNESCO sites of Zimbabwe. And the music, the pageantry, the flame which went with it, all captured the mood of independence. It was a great show. It was also followed very much by Zimbabweans in the diaspora. The social media went viral. Zimbabweans are identifying with their country, showing that they love their country. They showed they were patriotic, that they want a country where there's tolerance, where there's democracy, where people generally can work with each other. So this is the spirit which came out of the Bulawayo celebrations, and the president was most gratified and thankful, like I said, to all political players, to all religious people, and to all Zimbabweans in general. The speech also focused on the youth and the recruitment, which I think is going to come out of the speech with the, we have a conference coming on, so I don't want to steal the thunder out of the acting youth for the youth organ of the party. Yes, and the other aspect which is he highlighted was the participation of affiliate organizations. It's a mass party. We are giving as many avenues for expression as can be for the Zimbabwean people in their various walks of life. So affiliate organizations like Young Men Believe in ED, like Women for ED, all the other such organizations, we want them because there is, where should I'm a man of heavy words, but there's really a big party going on about a reviving economy, where I know he was just alluding to it earlier on, the fact that we couldn't make it soon after the Politburo meant you walked away, and by the time you came, the streets were congested. All the this amount of traffic which is going on, which is really a hallmark of the vibrance of the economy. Remember, we used to have queues for fuel. The Second Republic has done away with that, and everybody seems to have a car. So, we want Zimbabweans to take full advantage of this evolving 7.2 GDP growth in the economy, so that one way or the other, they take part in the bonanza which we are building on as the Second Republic marches on to deliver on the dream of prosperity, which was the real reason why we lost a whole generation of youthful flowers in the 1960s and 70s, to deliver prosperity. Anything else without prosperity means that they died in vain. So I think the Second Republic is hitting the right chords, in the economic aspect, which takes me on to the other highlight of the president's speech, which was that we are doing well, but there is a scourge which is coming from inflation. And the inflation is not coming from domestic aspects of the running of the economy. He said it is imported inflation, and he is now going full out together with his dream team of the Minister of Finance and the Central Bank. He has declared war on the scourge of imported inflation, because it is not coming from within our economic performance. We are doing well. The exports are reaching, they've doubled, more than doubled now. Even with a bad season, we still expect a very good harvest. I mean, a generally satisfactory harvest. We are busy preparing for the winter wheat so that as much as possible we grow our own wheat. We have, tourism on the rebound, because the airlines now, we have more than 17 airlines coming into the country. So generally, there is no reason why when there is an oversupply of the US dollars from the performing economy, there should be inflation. So clearly something is going wrong, and the president and his team has identified it as the scourge of imported inflation. We are going to address it. Some of it may have to do with Ukraine, but this is only the latest. We also think that Ukraine is being offset by the high prices in gold and other export minerals. So where is the inflation coming from? Clearly it's coming from, it's imported. It's not endemic to the way the Second Republic has been running the economy. So I think the president is right to focus on that. We also are very happy generally happy with the performance of the party in the last elections. We won 2 seats, as we said. And this week, I think, all things being equal, as promised, the president is going to Hopewell for the celebrations for winning an urban seat. We prize it very much, because this is a turnaround for a party which for 2 decades has fared badly. We have Hopewell and we have Mutasa South, which we won, and is going to be celebrating. He promised the people of Binga that he will go back after the elections. We didn't win, but we came close, and he went back to Binga. What I'm saying is that we highlighted Binga as a case study where, because the government is taking full advantage of the comparative economic prospects within a particular region, the people are responding accordingly. And Binga is in Matabeleland North. You will accept that Victoria Falls has done very well in tourism. Then with COVID, we took particular attention with our Minister of Health, the Vice President, giving it herd immunity ahead of all the other provinces in the country, so that tourism could revive very quickly. This is an example of Zimbabwe taking particular care about the specific circumstances of a certain region. The same goes to Hwange. It is the energy base of Zimbabwe. The railway line which came from Cape Town in the 1890s touched on Hwange because of the coal deposits. Now there is a general boom because it is the energy base of the country. We have Hwange 7 and 8 coming on board. We have coke ovens sprouting in Hwange, and there is a general revival of economic and commercial activity in Hwange now, where people used to sell artifacts on the road coming from carvings. Now young people are tinkering with computers in factories which are producing coking coal, finding its way to the steel mills of South Africa, which are the largest in the region, but also to the cobalt mines of the DRC and the copper mines of Zambia, and Wanke is supplying the region. So this is a good thing. This is a good sign that the competitive advantage of Matabeleland North is being fully taken advantage of by the President, by the Second Republic. That's why he has been frequently visiting that region. He knows that if you have no electricity, you cannot develop. So he has prioritized Matabeleland North, and we are very happy with the response which we are getting, where we used to lose by a margin of 1,000 to 2,000 seats to 20, 30,000. We have closed the margin between us and the opposition to 2,000. So there's an inflection point. We are coming out of the tunnel. We are coming out of the well. We are going very soon to be on the surface. And hopefully 2023 coming, we may notch up Matabeleland North in full. In fact, we did 2 council seats. And when you start winning council seats, and we won quite a number of council seats, it means that you are getting what is good with the grassroots. Because at council level, that's where the grassroots starts responding to what you are doing as a party. So we want to say the Politburo was upbeat. It was bullish. Yes, we didn't win outright, but look, it's always good to know that you are on the road to winning. And it's a signal to the MDC that they need to be accountable for their electoral votes, particularly at local government level. We shall remind them that if they let garbage collect and people sleep on garbage, they are accountable as councillors. If young people swim in sewage in urban areas and they are councillors who have been elected, it is their responsibilities. We will make them that they cannot turn cars into boats during the rain season when the streets are flooded with water because there are no storm drains in the city. It is their responsibility. We will remind them that, contrary to what Hopewell says, that when there are no hospitals, it is only the responsibility of the central government. No, 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 no. All over the world, health care is primarily the responsibility of the local authority. Chicago has got hospitals for the Chicago community. It's not the federal government which runs hospitals in Chicago. The same way in Seattle, the same way in Augusta, the same way in Los Angeles. Health care and hospitals are the responsibilities of the local authorities, not the central government. But somehow Hopewell Chin'ono, because he loves to lie, to calumniate, if I can put a big word, to just, rubbish central government and ascribing to it every war which he imagines in his head, and he divests that responsibility from the local authorities who go and stamp on the electoral campaign asking for the vote to say, I'll give you a hospital, and then they don't deliver. Then he wants to turn against the central government. No, no, no. Harare City Council has to provide health care as an elected body, and it is not just the responsibility of the central government. So these are the issues which we want to pinpoint to the MDC, that they will be central to the election in 2023. If they don't start addressing them now, we will make sure that we gain more seats at local level, and hopefully it will also translate into more seats at national level. It's a signal. We are not hiding. We are not ambushing them. We are telling it like it is. Well, there are other issues which arose. We are in the Politburo discussion. We have always been accused that we are trying to manipulate the electoral voting system. But what we have done through the Minister of Home Affairs is to declare a moratorium and no fees on the acquisition of national IDs. because it is a valuable source document for people to go to register as voters. So, no, the government says anybody can go and get a national ID now without having to pay fees, which means a major impediment has been removed for people to be able to go and register as voters. You know, if we were there to manipulate ZEC, as one would say, we would not be going to such extraordinary measures. It means we respect the democratic constitution of the country. After all, we are the ones who gave Zimbabwe democracy. We love democracy as a party, and we will tweak every rule to make sure that Zimbabweans in their numbers are registered so that they can take part in the plebiscite which is going on between either side of July in 2023. So again, we are open about it. We are telling the MDC to be aware. We are telling the CCC to be aware of the extraordinary steps we are taking as government through the, on instruction, on direction from the ruling party, to make sure that our democratic practices are seen, are just not there, but are seen to be there. We want to debunk the myth that somehow Western countries which colonized Africa, never gave it democracy, can be the standard bearers of what democracy should be in Africa. Zimbabweans are original. We are very original. We have the only original military which came out of every family in Zimbabwe. We don't have an inherited military. We also don't have an inherited democracy. It's homegrown. So we will continue to tweak it to make sure that it satisfies the aspirations of Zimbabweans, because that is the only people to whom we are accountable to. We are happy that there is also a softening up of the issue of sanctions by the EU, but also there is also even maybe some movement on the issue of sanctions by the opposition. Welcome on board. If the opposition, including the CCC, finally travel the road of Saul on the road to Damascus, they'd end up as Paul, St. Paul, we will be happy about that, because sanctions serve no particular interest except to make Zimbabweans suffer. And incidentally, after 2 decades, the biggest sufferer now in political terms is the MDC. Like I said before, it started up as a party of the ZCTU, the workers. To organize the workers, they must be employed. There must be factories working. And factories are working in urban areas. Now, if you cut out Zimbabwe from the international financial system and factories close and people are furloughed, they lose jobs, they become rural peasants, or they become informal workers, you can't organize a trade union. So your base collapses. So the MDC, ZCTU, and trade union movement collapsed. That's why they are trying to follow the only employing trade union in the country, which is the workers, because the government is paying. You know, but theirs, which is the one for industrials, for factories, they destroyed it. They lifted a big stone only to drop it at their own feet. So we are saying that if they can now understand that sanctions are folly, maybe they will tell their friends in Washington. They used to want to be taken pictures with them championing sanctions. Maybe they can now tell them that, no, we made a mistake. Please remove Zidera. We don't need it because it is making us lose political power within Zimbabwe. Because their presumption was that there may be regime change before the people can vote them out. But in the end, what's going to happen is that there's been no regime change, and the people may eventually vote them out completely, because people now identify sanctions with them. And in the meantime, the ruling party, through Open for Business, and other pro-business aspects of the administration have removed the premium on sanctions by rewarding business. If sanctions says a businessman may get minus 10%, the president says we will give you incentives so that you get plus 10%. That's why there is a big movement of investment in Zimbabwe on a scale which is, to put it mildly, astounding. 7.2% growth of the economy is no joke. We are now one of the fastest growing economies in spite of sanctions. And I constantly remind people, go and see what's happening in Mat North, go and see what's happening in Mvuma, Manize, see the investment which is coming. It has even occasioned our president to go to Mozambique to upgrade our relations from a joint commission to a binational commission. What it means is that the way Germany and France run their economy, which became the basis of the EU, is the way we are going to run our relations with Mozambique. As the core of SADC, we will integrate Maputo and Harare in our economic management so that energy resources are shared. They have gas in Buzi and Pungwe on the mouth of the Buzi and Pungwe River, which is good for Zimbabwe but may not be big enough for the world markets like the one in Cabo Delgado. It gives Zimbabwe new leeway. These are discussions. That's why we're talking of fertilizer factories, which may be now set up. So we are having a very close relationship between Maputo and Harare for logistics, for ports, for exports, for telecommunications. Because we are landlocked now, we want Mozambique to make us land-linked. So this is in anticipation of the general improvement on the prospects of the economy of Zimbabwe, courtesy of the pro-business policies of the Second Republic. So by and large, those are the issues. We also have some additional announcement. You know, the theme of the trade fair is Nyika Inovakwa Nevene Vayo, and we will be in full force as a party at the ZITF to showcase in virtual and in reality what we are doing as a party to the general public. Again another chance for the seat of kings and queens to show its mettle as part of an inclusive and devolved Zimbabwe. Well, we'll be having President Uhuru as our guest of honor. This is a good thing. Kenya is an important African country, one of the pioneers of the freedom movement, in the 1960s, and will be gracing our occasion as part of the African family. And you will also be very happy to know that because of our appreciation of Africanness, the president has appointed a special envoy, initially focusing on the progressive Pan-Africanist countries which were part of the National Liberation Movement. And our former foreign minister, our secretary of external affairs, Ambassador Simbarashe Mbengegu, will be visiting African capitals. One, to promote the Museum of African Liberation, which tells the story of how far Africa has come in terms of reconstituting its military prowess. Because I always remind you, we lost in the 1890s because we were militarily weak. So the Museum of African Liberation focuses on the resurgence of African military prowess, and he will be the ambassador of the president, going to various African capitals, focusing initially on those which were involved in the liberation struggles of Southern Africa, because it is in Southern Africa that the African state has developed to one of its highest levels. Why? Because we had to create new armies. We didn't inherit. We had to destroy the colonial armies and create new ones. So we have a new identity in terms of our state apparatus. That's why we are more resilient in terms of the scourge of coups which afflicts other African countries. So Ambassador Mbengegwi will be the special envoy of the president in that aspect. I think by and large, I just felt that I didn't want to go in and then come out. The young man is here. He has got an important assignment of the most important and futuristic organ of the party, the Youth League, you know that in the 60s and 70s, it is young people, including myself, our generation, which were at the forefront of the fight, and we paid a very high price. So we put great store in our youth. And when they have a conference, an elective congress, we put a lot of attention to it. And it is right and proper, because what's happening in our economy is a reintegration of the youth, giving them hope. I'm telling you that now, because of what's going on, we are now busy recruiting techno-capable Zimbabweans in the diaspora to come back home to install the blast furnaces in Manize for the steel plant, to build the roads. You know, when the president says, he's impressed. We initially thought we would need Chinese and Turkish and other countries to come and build our roads. But because of this pool of capable Zimbabweans, and most of them went to build stadiums in South Africa for Africa 2010, now we are building our own roads using our own expertise. The jump from knowledge to skills by Zimbabweans because of our high educational level is the steepest in the world. So this is why it is a good thing that we give constant attention to the youth, because they are the vibrant dimension of Zanu PF as the party of the future. And, comrade, your turn. This is your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate and thank. I want to thank and appreciate our national spokesperson, our national secretary for information publicity, for the time that is given us to explain the progress that we've made this far for the Youth League and what was said in regard to that conference by the Politburo. As you are aware that the Youth League is a wing, and as it is a wing, it is not autonomous. It also works hand in glove with the leadership of the party. So we are happy and we are much appreciative to the efforts that they have done. To start with, I just want to dispel some rumors that come through the media, and some of them are speculative stories. The speculative stories, for example, last week, there were stories to say who A, B, C, D has submitted a CV, wants to contest. In particular, they were referring to Robert Jr., that he wants to contest, etc. But the truth of the matter is that we did not receive any CV from him. The province that he comes from, Ashwest, did not submit a CV, and also in Harare did not submit a CV. So it is important for you, members of the media. I know you have got sources, but trust your sources and actually check with us. We are there, and we can tell you information, or even our spokesperson is there, not to speculate stories. The 7th National Youth Conference is going to be held on the 4th of May. It's going to be running for 2 days, and it's going to be held at Harare International Conference Center. The most important thing, I think, a change which has been made due to the pressures and also the availability of accommodation within the CBD. So we are going to, initially we stated that we are going to have 4,500 guests that are going to attend that conference, but this is no longer the same. We have changed, taking into cognizance the aspects of accommodation facilities which will be available at that particular time. So we are going to have about 2,100 guest delegates. These delegates are going to come from the party structures. That's 1,200 youth chairpersons that are coming from the party respective wards. So in addition to that, provincial members, 40 per each and every province, to make them 400. So we are going to get up to about 2,000 guests. But the foreign dignitaries, as we published, they're still going to come, and also our progressive affiliates, which include ZICOSO, Zimbabwe Congress of Students Union, which also includes the Zimbabwe National Youth Service Graduates Association, and all the other affiliates like Young Women for ED, Men Believed. They are also going to be part of that of this elective conference, but they are coming as guests to that conference. We want the Politburo also, when we presented our report, made it clear that directives that come from the party headquarters, they've got to be respected, because we have in some provinces that were now disregarding the circulars that were originating from the party headquarters, and we are aware. So anything that was done which is outside what the circular says is now in void. We are following the roadmap as was said, so we are encouraging leaders, all our leaders in the party structures in different provinces, to take heed and follow the procedures that are articulated. It is the responsibility of the Youth League and the Commissariat Department working together to make sure that there is order, and everyone is called to order, and the Politburo emphasized that this has to be done, and anyone who falls by the wayside can face disciplinary hearing. Just to also show that the Zanu PF as a party itself advances its internal democratic processes through encouraging young people to participate in internal elections. For example, these elections, the elective conference, we started by a core of CVs, and I'm glad to report to the members of the media, which is also a report that I've also made to the Politburo. We received 155 CVs from different provinces, the highest being Harare, followed by Midlands, Manicaland, and remember that for the national executive post, we only need 40. So you realize that we received 155 CVs, but those people are all contesting for 40 positions. So this means that democracy is alive, and this can only be seen within Zanu PF. I also want to emphasize that the people who have submitted the CVs, these are young people, aged 35 years and below. Some have got different types of qualifications. So this means that the party is being attractive to a lot of young people who believe in the vision and the impetus which is being set by the leadership of His Excellency President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. What's now going to what is now going to follow is that on the 24th, this Sunday. This is important information for you, members of the media, so that you follow. On the 24th of April, all the provinces, the 10 provinces, are going to conduct what they call provincial conferences. And these provincial conferences, they are the nomination process which is going to be done there for our candidates. It's going to be, it's an elective nomination. So each province must provide 4 candidates. So we are going to have that that program on Sunday. So and the people who are contesting in these elections are only the people who submitted their CVs. But apart from that, one of the important roadmap when it comes to the issues of the conference is the resolutions. Yesterday, there were district conferences, youth conferences, which were done across the country. And after these conferences, they came up with resolutions. The resolutions covering about 5 thematic committees, which include youth participation in party affairs, state of the economy and youth participation, youth health issues, religion and culture, sports, arts and recreation. These are issues that daily affect the youth, and they were discussed, deliberated at the district conferences yesterday. So those deliberations are going to be put forward to the provincial conference, and we come up with a consolidated list that is coming from all the provinces. So this is the only party which is systematic in this manner, which has information which comes from the grassroots, and it can only be found within Zanu PF. So then another important issue. You have it?
You can proceed, we'll be announcing the name.
All right. We are also happy to announce that the Provincial Conference, which is going to be held on the 24th, the delegates for that conference would include the provincial youth executive members of that province. That means 40 of them. It's also going to include the DCC secretaries for youth affairs in that respective province. It is also going to include the party district chairpersons from all districts in that respective province. I also want to mention that previously when we had provincial elections, Much North did not have a substantive provincial youth chairperson. So today the Politburo got a report from the Commissariat Department that we now have a provincial youth chairperson for Matabeleland North who was uncontested, and this report was approved. His name is Comrade Alvin Lundi Sinzeka. Comrade Alvin Lundi Sinzeka is now the provincial youth chairperson for Mat North. We want to say congratulations to him, and he'll be representing that province at the 7th National Youth Conference. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and any questions in regards to the conference, the spokesperson is here. We are also here as a youth league. Please, as the media, don't speculate to put names that are not there and to set an agenda which is not there. We are there. There are people who move with rumors and lies, but the people, custodians of information, and also the people responsible for government, responsible department, we are here to give you the required information. I want to thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just a quick feelings. We are proceeding because the season has not been as ideal as we expected. So drought mitigation is already afoot. We want to make sure that Zimbabweans do not in any way suffer from food insecurity. So all the systems have been reactivated with the Ministry of Labour, the Ministry of Labour and Social Services, to make sure that Zimbabweans do avoid hunger. The other aspect is that we do value religious freedom in Zimbabwe. So as a party, even though I may have my own religious affiliation as a party leader, we shall be participating in all religious activities, be they Christian, be they Muslim, be they traditional, because under the Constitution of Zimbabwe there is religious freedom. So we will be part of religious activity because there are values which build society from religious engagement. So we will be using that also as a hunting ground for support from the party. We make no bones about it. We want to go wherever Zimbabweans are involved in any activity to canvass for vote, because we want to make sure that we do well, extremely well, in the 2023 harmonized elections. Yes, there will also be by-elections. As you know, our MDC offshoots have been at each other again. Soon after the elections, they started recalling each other. So we are again going for by-elections. We have only one seat which we lost in Zanu PF because of natural causes. There are probably more than 7 others where they've committed harakiri. Disembowelment, self-disembowelment, harakiri. So they've given us an opportunity to go again, to go and canvass for the vote. Fortunately for us, this is at local government level, not at national level. And this is where the MDC is weakest because of their sordid record over the past 20 years of total neglect of urban areas. We hope that we will be able to fish in their pond and snatch a few more seats, because we have said to you, we are at an inflection point. When you are dealing with graphs, there is a point where there is a sharp upturn or sharp downturn. Fortunately for us, it's a sharp upturn, and unfortunately for them, it's a sharp downturn. We hope it continues like that, and the party of the Zimbabwe Revolution continues to garner more seats. We have also, the president has also sent a strong warning for people to abide by the party constitution, and provincial leaderships have been called upon to work closely with the National Political Commissar so that there is no perception of unfairness whatsoever in the selection of candidates or in the running of the parties, no efforts at manipulating or at trying to shortchange the recent elections which were run by the political commissar. We do things in an open manner. We are not like the other party where they boast that they have no program, they have no policy, that decisions can be made. There's no Congress, that they boast with no constitution, that it's an amorphous organization. And being an amorphous organization, you are also amorphously expected to vote for it. We are not like that. We have a history of being a structured party for 6 decades, where we've built up solid structures in peace and in war. This cannot be said of the other party, particularly in its new reincarnation as the Triple C. So I don't know how it can be, anybody can continue to take it as a serious party. And the other thing is that we want as much as possible people to go and register for votes so that provinces, constituencies are not lost by provinces. If you don't have enough votes to hit probably the 20 to 24,000 mark in a province, you are going to lose a constituency. So we are encouraging our party structures to make sure that people register as votes so that they increase the number of constituencies so that they take full part in national political activity. I think, we also taking the leaf book of our very successful independence celebrations devolution in Bulawayo. We don't want it to take 10 years for other provinces to enjoy part of the festivities which are associated with national institutions. Independence is a national institution. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces are also a national institution, like I alluded to. So we will make sure that maybe the next province other than Harare and Bulawayo do host the National Defense Forces Day. Equally, we have the National Heroes Day. We are a country of heroes. We also think that that should also be devolved so that provinces do take part, so that we can quickly go around the provinces in a national, inclusive and devolving effort at being identified with national events because of our history of collective sacrifice for the cause of independence and freedom. So Defense Forces Day and National Heroes Day shall be taken part in the different provinces other than Harare and Bulawayo, which have had their chance. They've had their chance. We also take this occasion to extend our condolences to one of our foremost religious leaders, Apostle Rebekwa Johani Marange, where Mutumwa Noah has been buried, I think today. Yes, yesterday, I'm told. I've been there. My wife is actually, Mrs. Mutsvangwa, she is a senator in that constituency. She extends her particular condolences, even although she also has her own family condolences. He was an important national religious leader, a stalwart of patriotism and support for the revolutionary tradition of Zimbabwe. So when we lose him, we grieve with the members of his church. We also grieve with his family, Mutuma, Noah, Kaguta. I think by and large, those are the main issues which arose out of the deliberations of the party of the revolution. And I want to conclude by saying that we are really elated by the inclusive participatory nature of the various political parties, including the Triple C, in the independence celebrations in Bulawayo. We are hoping that we are starting on a new chapter and that it continues like that, that we continue to narrow the room of egregious foreigners who want to get into our midst and manipulate us against each other, so that we do not focus on the development of our country, the most structured and organized African country on the continent. Why? You don't win a war against the foremost imperial power of the era and its Rhodesian cat's-paw unless you get organized and structured. So we are, and there's no reason why we cannot develop fast, because we are organized and structured. So if we unite amongst ourselves, narrow our differences, marginalize negative foreign influence, build solid relationships with our neighbors whom we acquired a political soul with during the freedom struggle, there's nothing to stop us from succeeding. We do have the resource base to succeed, one of the most endowed African countries in terms of resources. So if we combine organization, we embrace our high educational levels, again a product of our structure and organization, and we work on this bonanza of resources which we have in agriculture, in tourism, and in minerals, we will be the first African country to cross the development line in line with Vision 2030. Absolutely no reason why Zimbabwe cannot catch up, even surpass Singapore. We used to be ahead of Singapore as Rhodesia. They went to war, they became racist, they became negative. We lost thousands of people. Now, under the new republic, we have flipped the coin. We are on the other side. We want to catch up with Singapore and probably overtake them. We have absolutely no reason not to hope along those lines. And that's what President E.D. Mnangagwa and the Second Republic is promising to the people of Zimbabwe and to Africa and its diaspora. I want to thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson, for that emphasis, and the Acting Deputy Secretary of the Youth League, Comrade Chirau, for giving those sound highlights ahead of the elective conference of ideologically sound young texts, the proper young texts in the proper context of the resolution, not those other ones we told a couple of days ago. I must engage Comrade Mutsvangwa just briefly. We are again here tomorrow, and our colleagues from the media will be with us again from the morning. And then around this time, you may need to brief them about the occasion tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we do have our Central Committee meeting tomorrow. It comes under the provisions of our Constitution. We are a consultative body, and the Central Committee is the one which gives guidance to the Politburo. We are only, the Politburo is an interim body acting on behalf of the Central Committee. So what we have been doing is to be endorsed tomorrow, because the Central Committee is the full membership of the party. We take those meetings seriously, and we shall be inviting you again, maybe at the end of the day tomorrow, after the deliberations, just to give you of what may have happened. I may not be available because of the circumstances concerning my family. I'm not sure, but we will be again with you tomorrow because it's an important institution of the party, the Central Committee. It is actually the supreme body of the party outside of the Congress. We are going to have an elective Congress this year. The youth is the beginning one. The Women Congress is also coming. We had a report about the Women's Congress today. And in October, we are having an elective Congress of the ruling party, this year. So the Central Committee is running the party until the elective Congress. That's when it will be dissolved. Then we have a new leadership.
Thank you very much. The opportunity to engage the spokesperson in questions. Briefly, our colleagues, you are all free to do so. We never run out of time. You have them. I think Comrade Chao made it very clear. Don't speculate when you have an opportunity to engage them. So here they are. I'll start with you, my colleague from
Oh yes, thank you very much for clarity. It's an elective Congress at the end in October. It's an elective Congress, not conference. The women and the youth are elective conferences.
And more questions or questions from colleagues? There being no further questions from colleagues. Once again, Comrade Spokesperson from the department, we are with you and the family and Mutsvangwa as you go through this sad chapter, sad moment in the family, and we hope that you heal and come back more stronger out of this process. Otherwise, thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson, for braving to come to this important occasion, despite having that, bereavement in the house. May they